According to reports now, there was this military aircraft that for whatever reason flew into the path.
All right.
Right.
I do want to walk us through just the timeline of all this, and we have some sound to be able to bring to you in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the timeline. 8:48 p.m. last night is when this happened. 7:30 this morning, it switched from a rescue to a recovery. On board, we have 64 people on the American Airlines flight. We have 3 soldiers aboard the Black Hawk helicopter, so that's 67 people. Right now, 28 bodies from last reports have been recovered. So when we talk about how many families that are involved and impacted, we're also already hearing there's potentially a family that's connected here in North Carolina. But also the NTSB says, they are ready to go, but they're saying that they also want to be able to kind of warn people to have a low expectation of what they're able to bring to us, because you have so many families involved. From your perspective as a pilot, kind of take us through that.
Well, I think I'm not a medical examiner. I'm not an emergency personnel, but there has to be respect for the dead. Forgive me for being blunt. Respect for the dead, for the family. So their number one priority is getting the remains, removing the bodies. I'm assuming everyone had a seatbelt on. Yeah. So they need to recover all of those bodies. And then the NTSB will start their investigation. A preliminary report will come out as early as possibly next week or within the next few weeks, but it's going to take at least a year for the final report to come out from the NTSB. To some people right now who speculate, and we can't speculate, a lot of speculation out there. Oh, they're pointing the fingers at the helicopter pilot. We just have to wait and see. There are a lot of factors. And I'm going to tell you right now something that has nothing to do with how smart you are, or what color you are, or how bright you are as a pilot or air traffic controller. There's something that we're dealing with here that NTSB investigators will look into, and that's the human factor. We are human. Humans make mistakes. So they're going to look into this. Were the pilots tired? Were they fatigued? How long had they been flying that day? It doesn't appear that the CRJ, the regional jet pilots, had an issue. They were following instructions from what we know. What about the military pilots? They were on a training mission. Were they tired? Were they fatigued? From their remains, they will do drug testing. They will look into the past. They will also look into mechanical issues too. They have to do that. We can't just assume this was human error. But the human factor will be looked into.
And on board that Black Hawk, it was a military training operation.
Yes.
There was a pilot, a co-pilot, and then a flight crew chief on board, from what we're understanding. We do have that sound from Air Traffic Control and Washington, D.C., Fire Command, and the immediate aftermath of the crash. I want to play that for you now.
Yep, we saw it. And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now. Fire Command. Happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
Is the airfield closed?
Yes, the airfield is closed. The airfield is closed.
Runways as well?
Yes, all runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all.
All right, you're just listening there from Air Traffic Control and Washington, D.C., Fire Command, and the immediate aftermath of the crash. Mackay, you are a professional pilot, so when you hear that, help us process what we just listened to.
Well, whenever there's an accident like that, they're going to shut the airport down. You know, Charlotte Douglas International Airport always reminds us when there's a snowstorm or something going, the airport never closes, but airlines can choose not to fly in or out. And in this situation, when you have an accident, they shut the runways down because they have to investigate and see, and they don't want anybody else flying in and maybe veering over the river or over the accident site. So it's very sad. You know, as a pilot, I've been at other airports where there were mishaps. Thank God I wasn't involved in, but where I had to be diverted to another airport because they closed the airport for someone landed with the gear up, or there was a deer on the runway that had an accident with an airplane. But you know, today is tragic, and of course, it's rare. We haven't had an accident, a fatal commercial airline accident in 16 years, since 2029, and that was also a regional airplane. It was a prop plane, and that happened in Buffalo. And that was, the NTSB decided that the pilots on board were really, even though they were qualified, they weren't as experienced as they should have been because they ran into icing conditions and the airplane did an aerodynamic stall. Don't mean to talk over people's heads and bore you with that, but basically they couldn't recover from a situation that eventually ended in a crash. Fatigue was part of that, plus something very important people don't know about, sterile cockpit. So yeah, there is a regulation that when you're below a certain altitude, 10,000 feet, and of course you're taking off for landing, all the conversation in the cockpit needs to be related to the flight. We're not talking about, hey, I went to dinner last night with your buddy, or what are we going to do when we land in Dayton? It's all about checklists, aircraft. We're taking off runway 23. It's a beautiful night. If we have an engine fire, an emergency, we're going to do blah, blah, blah. Everything has to do with the flight. So that accident in 2009, they found out it wasn't sterile cockpit. They were talking to each other about frivolous things.
Right.
That led to stricter training requirements, changed the whole face of flight training. When President Trump talks about the best and the brightest, you have to be smart. The qualifications to be a pilot were always demanding. But yeah, in recent years, since 2009, they got even more strenuous.
I want to talk about the airspace because I think it's important for people to understand where this crash happened over the Potomac there. You were explaining to me, I mean, there's some restricted airspace there.
Oh, it's all restricted.
From your experience, and you have flown there
yeah,
too.
I've flown it, yeah.
Just so we can understand this area, if you can tell us a little bit more.
So it is congested. It's a small airport. Runways are short. It is congested.
The Reagan Airport.
The Reagan Airport, Reagan DCA. It is a small airport. But who can fly in there is restricted. You have to have a reservation to fly in there. You do. I can't just go in there in my little Cessna 172.
Right.
It's typically for airliners and corporate planes that have a special security clearance to be in there because the White House is right there, right? This is prohibited. It's called a CFRA. You have to have special permission to be in there. It is very congested because not only do you have commercial planes and corporate planes, but you've got the Pentagon, you've got military bases, you've got the helicopters. You know, but folks, we have helicopters here over Charlotte. Do you live in Uptown? I live in Uptown. Right. There all the time we have helicopters. Charlotte Douglas International, we have the Guard here. So we deal with military planes. We're the 7th busiest airport in the world. Hartsfield in Atlanta, so busy isn't the problem. Yeah. It's just a lot of skill that goes into this, and unfortunately someone made a mistake. The NTSB will investigate and let us know specifics.
If you're just joining us right now, we are following breaking news that President Donald Trump spoke following the aviation disaster in Washington, D.C. last night. American Airlines Flight 5432 collided midair with a military Black Hawk helicopter. Officials say they believe right now, they believe all 67 people on board the 2 aircraft are dead. Now, if we have sound right now, we want to take you to that news conference that happened just around 11:22 this morning. If we can be able to play some sound from that news conference, President Trump speaking.
This was a dark and excruciating night in our nation's capital and in our nation's history, and a tragedy of terrible proportions. As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly. And we are a country of, really, we are in mourning. This has really shaken a lot of people, including people, very sadly, from other nations.
And our coverage of the devastating plane crash will continue. Make-Hay, I want to tell you thank you so much for your professional information that you're able to give us from a pilot's perspective. And I want to make that very clear because, of course, I can't ask you things about, you know, the crime scene or the crash scene in terms of that from the NTSB, but your experience as a pilot as to what goes on before you're landing is so important to the conversation because it helps paint the picture as to what could have happened.
So it makes you wonder aboard the helicopter, were they distracted? Because President Trump kept saying in this press conference, well, why would they do that? Why would they fly right into the airplane? It was right there. There are reports that when the helicopter was told there's traffic, do you see the CRJ? And they did see the traffic. Maybe they were looking at the wrong airplane. We don't know. NTSB is going to find out. The data recorder, the voice recorders, the conversation in the cockpit, we're going to find out, were they distracted in the helicopter? Is that what happened? This is where the human element comes in. Were they fatigued? Were they talking about something else? We don't know. But you can be the best and the brightest, the most highly trained. And if you knew the training that goes into being an airline pilot, you would be shocked. There would be no white-knuckled flyers because we're trained so well and it's hard. But we are human, and there's a human factor, and part of that could be fatigue or just making a mistake or looking at the wrong aircraft. But they're also going to look at mechanical issues. We don't know. The NTSB is a big job.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, you have now 67 families that are impacted
Yeah.
by this. I mean, it's safe to be able to say that everybody will know somebody that was related to
Yes.
this crash, which is just so horrific to think about it, as just how big this is. But May-Kay Buehler, we appreciate your
Thank you,
coverage.
Alicia.
We will continue to be able to cover this story, obviously, as breaking news throughout the whole entire day and have much more. If another news conference does happen, though, of course, we will bring you that on Queen City News. But you also find out more as we go into our Queen City News at noon show. But we will continue to have reports throughout the day
Thank
on
you,
this.
Alicia.
May-Kay, appreciate it.